Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your chosen sources and distill the most fascinating insights. Today, we're embarking on a truly unique exploration. We're looking into the world of Taoist practices, specifically how they apply to cultivating female sexual energy.
That's right. We're diving into healing love through the Tao, Cultivating Female Sexual Energy by Mantak Chia and Chia.
This book, while it promises a way to improve health, overcome system imbalances, and achieve a really gratifying sexual experience, all through understanding and harnessing fundamental energy.
Exactly. Our mission today is to unpack this ancient Taoist vision of energy. We'll explore the honestly surprising intricacies of female anatomy from their perspective and reveal how these practices aim to transform vital energy for better health, balance, and even spiritual growth.
It sounds fascinating. Now, the book does offer a specific warning, right?
Yes, that's important. It advises that if you have high blood pressure, heart conditions, or just general weakness, you should practice calmly, especially things like ovarian breathing. And, consult a doctor if you're under medical treatment. It's powerful stuff.
Okay, so let's unpack what this all means for you. At the heart of this whole deep dive is the Taoist idea of qi, or vital life force. For those maybe new to this, how does the book explain qi? Why is it so central?
Well, what's really transformative here is the Taoist view that qi isn't just some abstract idea. It's the very foundation of good health. And it's the pathway to what they call higher energy states. They believe that by learning to condense and consciously transfer this qi, we can actually build an energy body.
Or a soul body.
An energy body, wow.
Yeah, and nurture our immortal spirit. It's like consciously evolving your energetic blueprint, if that makes sense.
That's a profound concept. So, okay, how does this qi play out in daily life? The book brings up Jing and this idea of emotional consumption. Right. Jing is described as the principal, sort of foundational energy. Think of it like your body's deep reserve battery.
Right.
And our emotions, they play a huge role in how we manage this Jing. Negative emotions, surprisingly, are seen as causing its discharge, its depletion.
So holding on to anger or fear, it's not just mentally draining.
Exactly. It's energetically costly, a significant drain on your core vitality, according to this view.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting. The book claims sexual energy is the most abundant and easily convertible energy into these higher forms of qing. But there's a caution too, right, about burning it off through stimulants or even too much sexual activity.
Absolutely. It's a powerful duality. And it raises a big question for modern life. If this incredibly potent vital force, especially when we're young, isn't channeled correctly, well, the book says it can lead to dependence.
Dependence. How so?
The body ends up constantly seeking to replenish that depleted energy. It starts drawing from vital organs, glands, even the brain, which can lead to these cycles of unhealthy stimulation, drugs, alcohol, whatever. So the proper transformation of qi, according to this wisdom, aims to eliminate that need. It offers a more sustainable path to vitality.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Anatomy. Many of us think we know female anatomy pretty well, but this book offers what it calls a truly new view. It talks about historical shifts, Masters and Johnson, feminist research, and this concept of a unified sexual organ. For listeners used to say, a standard biology class view. This sounds like a big reframe. Can you break that down?
Yes, it's really a vital shift in perspective. Historically, traditional sexology often zeroed in on the clitoris as just the visible glands, the vagina, the labia. They're often seen as separate.
Right, and the whole Freud debate about clitoral versus vaginal orgasms.
Exactly. But this source, and it draws on more modern feminist research here, proposes something pretty revolutionary. That the entire female sexual organs, so the labia, glands, shaft, and the internal urethral and perineal sponges all contain erectile tissue.
All of it.
All of it. Which suggests this deep structural and functional similarity to male sexual impulses. It unites the whole area into one integrated system, basically designed for expansive pleasure.
Okay, let's dive into specifics then. Beyond the parts we all know, what other key areas does the book highlight, especially from this Taoist angle?
Well, it details the Monte Divinus, the Mons Veneris, the labia minora, the glands of the clitoris, obviously, and its sensitivity, plus the urethra and vagina openings. But what's really crucial for these practices is the emphasis on the G-spot.
Oh, the G-spot, still a bit mysterious for many.
Right. The book describes it as a distinct cluster of blood vessels around the urethra that can actually protrude when stimulated. And it notes something interesting. This stimulation often brings on a urinary sensation before the sexual excitement kicks in. That's a useful detail for women exploring it.
Yeah, definitely. And that brings us to female ejaculation, something many women have felt, confused or even embarrassed about historically. How does the book handle that?
It brings a lot of clarity, actually, and reassurance.
Hmm.
It confirms female ejaculation is distinct from urine, period. It even identifies 3 types of fluid in female orgasms:
Hmm.
the initial lubrication, then normal orgasmic fluids, and specifically fluids released from the G-spot during ejaculation.
Okay.
By acknowledging and explaining it, the aim is really to demystify the whole thing, allow women who experience it to relax and enjoy it more.
So, understanding this more unified, expansive anatomy, what are the practical tools for cultivation? The book introduces the PC muscle and something called the chi muscle.
Yes, the puoconocygus muscle, or PC muscle, often called the love muscle, right?
Hmm.
It's described as absolutely foundational for healthy sexual activity and critical for what they call ovarian kung fu. But it's not just one isolated muscle. It's part of a larger chi muscle group. This group supports the reproductive organs, surrounds the anus, vagina, urethra, and it connects energetically to many other organs in the body.
Wow, so strengthening it isn't just about sex.
Not at all. The book claims strengthening it can powerfully address a whole range of issues: sexual difficulty, sure, but also childbirth recovery, even urinary incontinence. It's really seen as a cornerstone for overall vitality in this system.
Okay, so we've got this external or maybe semi-internal anatomy, but the Taoist view goes deeper, right? Inside, it talks about multiple diaphragms.
Exactly. Most people know the main one, the thoracic diaphragm, for breathing. But this book puts a lot of emphasis on 2 others, less known: the pelvic diaphragm and the urogenital diaphragm.
Pelvic and urogenital diaphragm.
Yeah. And they aren't just passive structures in this view. They're seen as energetic sluice gates. They can direct chi to organs or act like pistons, actively pumping energy up to higher centers in the body. The real energy transformation work, the book explains, happens in these lower diaphragms. They're seen as vital guards, basically preventing your essential life force, your chi, from just leaking out or escaping. When you learn to strongly close them through practice, the abdominal chi pressure increases. And this vitalizes the organs, dramatically improves chi and blood flow throughout your whole system.
That's a completely different way of thinking about, well, our internal architecture, which brings up another point. The source connects the anus to organ energy. That sounds pretty surprising.
It really does, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
one of those moments in the text where you go, wait, what?
Yeah.
But yes, from this Taoist perspective, the anus is intricately divided. 5 sections: central, frontal, posterior, left, and right.
5 sections, okay.
And here's the astonishing part. Each section is linked to specific organs and glands. It's like a map. For instance, the central part isn't just, well, the central part. It's energetically connected to the vagina, uterus, the aorta, stomach, heart, even the pineal gland way up in the brain.
Wow.
And the left part, it links to your left ovary, large intestine, left kidney, spleen, and even your left brain hemisphere.
That's incredibly detailed.
It is. This detailed connection really highlights the intricate, often unseen web of energy pathways that make up the Taoist energetic system. It suggests that by working with these points, maybe through awareness or specific practices, you could influence really far-reaching aspects of your health.
Okay, we've covered the basics of qi, this reimagined anatomy, the internal diaphragms. But how do we actually work with this energy? That brings us to the core practices, right? Ovarian breathing and circulating energy through the microcosmic orbit. What is this orbit? How does it work?
The microcosmic orbit is really a foundational Taoist concept. You can almost picture it as your body's own inherent energy highway, a continuous loop. Sexual energy, which they call Qi, is consciously moved. It starts from the ovaries, goes up the spine to the brain, then down the front of the body to the navel. The goal is to establish this smooth, continuous flow. It's not meant to get stuck anywhere.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? Accumulate and move the energy. It sounds quite specific.
It is very specific. The practical steps involve, first, learning to accumulate energy in what the book calls the ovarian palace, basically the area around the ovaries. Then you consciously move this energy sequentially through specific points along that highway.
Like checkpoints.
Kind of, yeah. It starts at the perineum, then moves up to the sacrum, the base of the spine, then up to the 11th thoracic vertebra, that's T11. The book calls T11 a crucial point for activating your adrenal glands, like turning on your natural energy boost system.
Okay, adrenals activated. Then what?
From there, it goes up to the 7th cervical vertebra, C7, base of the neck. Then to what the book mystically calls the jade pillow that's at the base of the skull, seen as a gateway to higher brain functions. And finally, it reaches the crown point, Paihui, right at the very top of your head.
The crown.
Yeah, consider this the ultimate energy reservoir. It's deeply connected to the pineal gland. And crucially, the position of your tongue touching the roof of your mouth is essential. It closes the circuit, allows the energy to flow down the front.
The tongue connects the circuit. Interesting. And why is all this movement important, especially getting it up to the brain? What's the benefit there for the listener?
Circulating this specific kind of energy, the sexual energy, through the brain is considered vital. It's believed to help balance the left and right hemispheres. It's said to significantly vitalize memory, promote clearer, sharper thinking.
Like brain food, almost.
Kind of. Think about how brain energy can feel like it depletes as we age. This practice is seen as a way to actively refill those cranial cavities. It's considered very similar to brain energy itself. Direct energetic nourishment for your mind.
Okay, but you don't just leave it up there, right?
Absolutely not. That's critical. After circulating it, it's vital to bring it down and store this energy in the navel area. The book identifies the navel as the safest storage place. It prevents excess accumulation in the head or the heart, which could cause imbalances, pressure, maybe even anxiety or headaches. Safety first.
This whole deep dive really pushes boundaries, especially when it talks about transforming the orgasm itself, something called orgasm aspiration. How on earth does that differ from, a typical orgasm?
Right, it's a profound shift in focus. The orgasm aspiration aims to internalize and really prolong that orgasmic sensation. It's less about a singular, intense peak and more like a wave of warmth spreading throughout your entire body to the organs, the glands, the nervous system.
So not just localized.
Exactly. They call it an organ orgasm, reaching all the cells. It's described as a sustained, gentle current bathing everything, leading to this deeper, more pervasive sense of well-being rather than just that quick, intense release.
How do you even begin to practice that?
It starts with training when you're not sexually stimulated.
Yeah.
Focusing on deep abdominal breathing, relaxing the diaphragms we talked about, and learning to mentally condense energy into what they poetically call a crystal ball in the lower abdomen.
A crystal ball of energy. Okay, now the book gets even more specific. It describes how activating certain glands can lead to distinct organ chi responses with surprising physical and mental effects. Can you give us some examples? This sounds wild.
It is pretty wild and fascinating.
Yeah.
It suggests our emotions aren't just mental states floating around. They're direct energetic indicators tied to our organ health. So for instance, when lung and large intestine chi is stimulated through these practices, you might feel this undeniable sense of courage, justice, righteousness almost.
Okay.
If it's spleen, stomach, and pancreas chi, it's associated more with a feeling of softness, harmony, a sense of beauty, and openness in the chest. And even, interestingly, a natural desire to grasp the breasts.
Huh. What about others?
Kidney and bladder chi. That can manifest as kindness, a really deep calmness, a physical sensation of roundness, fullness in the body, and what the book vividly describes as a flooded vagina.
Wow.
And if you activate liver and gallbladder chi, you might experience a profound warmth, a sense of frankness, openness, and a unique physical sensation of moist eyes.
So these physical feelings and emotional states are directly linked to specific organ energies. That's incredible.
It highlights how intimately connected everything is in this Taoist system. Your body, your energy, your emotions, it's all one conversation.
The practice also involves breast massage. What's the specific role of that here? Is it just about stimulation?
It's more than just physical stimulation, though that's part of it. Preliminary breast massage, even a gentle one, maybe with a silk cloth, is recommended before the egg exercise. Its main purpose, energetically, is to stimulate hormone secretion from the breasts and ovaries.
Ah, so it's preparing the energy.
Exactly. These hormones are then seen as vital raw material, ready and available for transformation into higher energy forms during that orgasm aspiration practice. Plus, the massage actively increases energy flow to the breasts themselves. The book suggests this helps break up energetic congestion, which over time they theorize could potentially contribute to problems like cancer.
Interesting. Preventative almost.
Yes. And the book even advises integrating monthly self-exams into this practice. It's very holistic.
And then there's the famous or maybe infamous egg exercise. How does that fit into this whole picture of transformation?
The egg exercise is definitely a core practice in this lineage. It involves introducing a small, smooth egg, traditionally wood or jade, into the vagina, and then using that whole chi muscle group, the pelvic floor muscles we discussed, to consciously hold and manipulate it.
Oh.
sometimes even with weights attached via string.
Weights. Wow.
Yeah. This practice, often done in a specific stance like an equestrian stance, is designed to profoundly strengthen the entire vaginal canal, and it can get really advanced, involving consciously using specific organ energies like the spleen and liver energy we just talked about to mentally pull the egg and the weight upwards.
Mentally pull it. That leads to something else you mentioned, the journey from physical effort to mental control.
Yes, that's a key progression described in the book. Initially, when you're learning, you use strong muscular contractions to help draw the energy upwards. Things like clenching your fists, squeezing the soles of your feet, tightening your jaw, pressing your tongue firmly to the palate. These are like external anchors, helping you feel the upward pull.
Okay, so you start with brute force, almost.
Kind of, yeah. But over time, with consistent practice, the control becomes completely internalized. It shifts, becomes guided solely by your mind, your intention, your senses. The muscles develop such automatic responses that they just follow your mental command.
That's amazing.
It is. This shift from gross physical effort to subtle mental direction signifies a much deeper mastery of your internal energy. It's not just about muscle anymore.
Now, this deep dive doesn't just stay with individual practice. It expands into curative love and partnered energy exchange. It even mentions a valley orgasm. How do these partnered practices build on the solo work?
Right? Curative love is about taking this energy cultivation into relationship. The goal is to increase the possibility of experiencing what they call a valley orgasm or superior orgasm.
A valley orgasm. What's that like?
It's described as a profound sensation, almost an energetic environment created between the partners. Something difficult to put into words, apparently.
Yeah.
It goes way beyond individual climax. It requires both partners to reach similar, elevated energy levels.
How do they do that?
Often through consistent practice of their respective energy work, microcosmic orbit meditation for both, orgasm aspiration for the woman, and something called the great aspiration for the man, which involves similar principles of drawing energy up. It's about consciously co-creating this shared energetic field.
So what does this mean for actual intimacy? The book mentions specific sexual positions, even hand gestures, used not just for pleasure, but for healing and energizing. That sounds incredibly intentional.
It is incredibly intentional. The book outlines numerous positions, and the focus isn't just physical pleasure, but precise energetic and healing purposes. For example, the woman on top position, they call it posture number 6, is highlighted for several things: increasing blood circulation, helping dissolve blood clots, aiding menstrual problems.
Really?
Yeah, and being suitable for late pregnancy. And even, remarkably, benefiting men who have large bellies or certain heart conditions because it reduces their physical exertion. It literally becomes a therapeutic exchange.
That's a world away from just finding a comfortable position. Are there other examples of these healing postures?
Oh, yes, several. For instance, posture, #4, is specifically recommended for bone problems, think weakness, or even fractures. And it's also said to alleviate circulatory issues and arthritis. Posture #5 targets blood vessel problems like varicose veins or hypertension.
Wow.
There's even a posture #6 aimed at increasing blood count for conditions like anemia, and posture #7 specifically for supporting the lymphatic system.
So the act of sex itself, in these specific ways, is meant to stimulate organ energies and promote healing.
Exactly. Assuming the energy channels are open and the partners are practicing consciously, it elevates sexual union to a form of energy medicine, essentially.
It really sounds like communication with your partner would be absolutely crucial here. You couldn't just, spring posture #4 on someone without explanation.
Absolutely. The book stresses this point heavily. The profound importance of partners understanding these practices together. It's about building a shared intention, discussing things like hand positions beforehand, synchronizing your breathing, your movements, all to consciously facilitate this energy exchange.
An exchange.
Yes, it can happen through direct physical contact, obviously. But the book claims that with advanced practice and a really deep energetic connection, this exchange can even happen at a distance.
At a distance. Wow.
Yeah, it's about cultivating a mutual intentional flow of life force between two people.
Okay, given the intensity and the depth of some of these practices, the energy work, the egg, the specific postures, what are the really important safety considerations the book emphasizes? Who should be cautious?
Right. Safety is paramount. The text repeats its initial warning. Individuals with high blood pressure, existing heart conditions, or just general weakness need to approach these practices calmly. gently.
Yeah.
And critically, they should consult their doctor, especially if they're already under medical treatment for anything.
Makes sense.
It also suggests specific discharge exercises. These involve focusing on points like the Mingmen, which is behind the navel on the spine, and Yangchuan on the sole of the foot. These are meant to help relieve any excess qi pressure, especially if someone feels discomfort or, say, temporary hypertension during practice. It's like having safety valves.
Good to know. Any other contraindications?
Yes, it advises against the practices if someone has an active venereal disease, mainly due to potential pain. And for issues like constipation, it specifically recommends doing certain exercises in the morning. The main takeaway, really, is that these are powerful, transformative techniques. They require careful study, patience, listening to your own body, and persistence. It's not a quick fix.
Okay, so pulling it all together for the listener, summarizing the overall benefits, what can someone realistically hope to gain from engaging with these Taoist practices? What's the promise?
Well, beyond the obvious promise of a potentially more gratifying and deeper sexual experience, these practices aim for really profound, holistic health benefits. We're talking about strengthening your internal organs from the inside out, significantly improving circulation, boosting your overall vitality and energy levels day to day. Also, achieving a deeper balance with your emotions, maybe becoming less reactive, and even, as we saw with the postures, potentially aiding with a range of physical ailments.
So it's health, vitality, emotional balance.
Exactly. Ultimately, the cultivation and transformation of this sexual energy is presented not just as a physical or sexual discipline. It's framed as a direct path to greater self-awareness, profound inner balance, and even accelerated spiritual growth, all by consciously refining your body's most abundant, potent energy, the sexual energy, into higher, more subtle forms of qi.
We've definitely taken a fascinating and, I think, quite profound deep dive into healing love through the Tao, cultivating female sexual energy. We've explored everything from this unified, energetic view of female anatomy to specific sexual positions designed for healing. It's quite a perspective shift.
It really is. It's a powerful reminder of those intricate connections between our physical bodies, our emotional states, and what these traditions see as our deepest energy reserves.
What really stands out here is that ancient Taoist wisdom, isn't it? That knowledge is most valuable when it's not just sitting in your head, but when it's understood and applied and
Right.
experientially.
Exactly. This deep dive really encourages, I think, a critical and curious rethinking. How do we perceive and how do we utilize our own life force?
So the question for you, listening, is, what does this all mean for you? Considering this profound connection the Taoists draw between sexual energy and overall vitality, how might exploring or even just considering these ancient practices shift your perception of self-care, of intimate connection, not just in the bedroom, maybe, but in the entire tapestry of your life?
Lots to think about. We hope this deep dive is giving you plenty of insightful nuggets, maybe spark some curiosity for your own further exploration.
Definitely. That's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.